So we move on to topic number two. Maybe probably topic number one in our guest's heart as well as mine. It's Sob Rock. It came out last week. It's John Mayer's 8th studio album. He released some songs that came out within the last few years. New Light, Carry Me Away, and it's just we want to talk about it without me just going on and on. We need someone to like actually discuss it with, because otherwise Brenton's not a huge John Mayer guy. So we brought Dallas in, DJ outro, Dallas Richardson. We're going to talk about this because this is a different step for John Mayer. It definitely goes away from In Search of Everything and Born and Raised and Paradise Valley, which were his last albums he released. Not that I'm a big John Mayer fan or anything. But we really want to talk about this. I don't know how we want to break it down. I hate just saying like straight out review because it's actually getting very positive reviews, which I'm very stoked on. But Dallas, I want to just get the first thing is first listen through. What did you think?
All right. So first listen through, and my immediate thought was, have you ever been on like Sirius Radio? Like the XM radio?
Yes.
And you know how like they used to have a station that was called Yacht Radio.
Yacht Rock.
Yeah, Yacht Rock. That's what it was.
Yep.
And I used to listen to it, and I used to like it, but it was like too much of it like made you feel like you know what I'm saying? I'm not that guy. It felt like rich people. It felt like rich people sad rock, which is what yacht. I mean, that's pretty much what Michael McDonald was, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Like,
I hear Yama be here one more time. Yama gonna kill myself.
So
right.
Brenton saying that is me saying, I mean, God wasn't good. It's good. It's him doing what he can do. Like but he wasn't even excessive John. Like I wanted more guitar in it. He was like, I'm not giving you more guitar. You get what I'm giving you. And I was like, okay, but I didn't want Yacht Rock, but we got it. And I think he did it, but if I'm gonna hear Yama be here one more time, I'm gonna Yama kill myself. I think, Brent, I think that's like, that's the best way I could put it. It was good. It wasn't great. And he can be great at all times.
So, first listen through, and I heard the 4 songs that were released beforehand. I listened to them a lot, obviously, beforehand. And then my first listen through, we get the Last Train Home that starts off the album. And, we have a record player that also connects to Bluetooth. So it's like the speaker for the house. So I just, we finished the podcast and literally we finished it right as the album dropped. So I put it on and we're listening to it. And I was like, this is fine. This is good. It was sort of funny to me because I was expecting it to be more like actually yacht rockier than it is, because it's actually more sad than anything. And I don't mean that in a negative way. It's like he's literally just kind of like digging into the deepness of his soul, which is the idea of like sob rock. And so the first time through, I was like, I like this fine. And then we ended up, we watched a movie after we were done with it. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to put the headphones on. I'm just going to like dissect this. And oh boy. And I text one of my other John Mayer friends who I knew would still be like awake because she's out in this area. And I was just like, this might be my second or third favorite album from John Mayer. And then the next day we get in the car and we drive, and it's like a quick out. It's 38 minutes and like 26 seconds or something. And I'm like, yes, this is, I've grown so much in this, and I've listened to it so much now where he hits that, he wants you to go 80s, but it's still John Mayer. And like you said, you want more guitar, but when he does the guitar, it's like the best of for me. It's not, this is an album that I think you could introduce to someone that isn't a John Mayer fan and be like, okay, just listen to this, see what you think. He's not going to give you, I'm of the opinion you can't have too much John Mayer playing guitar, but sometimes people don't like a long solo. He gives you a little bit on like every single song, and he really hits it hard, on a few, but he does give you a bit on every single song. And, after I would say I've probably listened to this now, I think 12 times through and through. I think it's his most creative album. in a way that still sounds like John Mayer and not like Paradise Valley or Born and Raised, where he's trying to be sort of a different era, more folk music. This is still rock music, which is what John does. And Heavier Things was my second favorite album, and I listened to it a lot. But I think this actually usurps it because he's doing what he wants to do. He doesn't care about sales. He doesn't need that anymore. He sells out concerts. Believe me, I know. I didn't make the first two. I finally got one, and I'll be there in March at the Forum. I'll see him. But yeah, so that's the way my takeaway is on the initial and now where we're out. And so now you've listened to it a few more times, Dallas. What do you think now? What do you think, his progression? I know you say you didn't play enough guitar, but where do you think we are now with it?
Well, here's my thing. I like what you said whenever you said that you listened to it 12 times because you oversaturated your head with it. So now anything I say to you over and over and over and over again, you're going to have in your head. So I think you oversaturated it. I only listened to it twice, and I wanted to keep anything he does that I listen to over time, I'm going to love, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But
Sure.
me being a musician, I always listen, like, what's my first reaction to things? Like, that's the most immediate, that's the most special. Like, whenever 50 Cent first came out with Get Rich or Die Trying, it was the immediate fucking response to what he did. If I can love everything over time. Like, give me a fat dog with one leg. Like, over time, I'm gonna love that little bitch. You know what I mean? But
That's the name of the episode, I think, Brenton.
Might be.
But at the end of the day, I wonder what was my immediate reaction. That song, "Why You Love Me No More." What is it like? It was like
Why You Love Me No More. Yeah.
Yeah, it grew on me. But my first response was, "What is this? This is terrible." But then the second time I listened to it, I was like, oh, okay. Because whenever you said it sounds sad, it reminded me of like the fucking like the old country singers when they would do duets.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever they like sit there and both of them on stools with like glitter all over their outfits.
Sure.
But like they would just sing together, and that's what there was a lot of that. There was a lot of like old, like I heard a lot of old, true to the country. That's what I
get that. I think that's a good comparison to this because, you're expecting guitar, you're expecting John Mayer, you're expecting, I think with every John Mayer album, you're expecting emotion. I think that's just the way it is, for better or worse, for a lot of people, for me, better. And I think the thing I will take away, and like I said, I've listened to it a lot. We went to LA the other day, and I played it twice going back and forth to LA, and it's just something I just randomly put on. If I'm like, doing something, I put it on. I will say, like, I'm glad he did it, because I think it would have been cool. It would have been awesome. He's like, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna do a blues record. But then that's just more of what you're getting from. That's what you expect from him. He doesn't do the blues thing. He does something different. It's, he doesn't, like I said, people at this point have their opinion of John Mayer.
Here's my thing, Greg. Here's my thing. Okay, so the best gospel artist hasn't come up to John Mayer and said, "You're the best in this genre." The best pop person of all time hasn't come up to John and said, "Hey man, you are the best pop guy, you should never stop doing this. You're better than me." Only one person did that to him, and that's never fucking happened that I've seen. So Eric Clapton came over to John Mayer and said, "Hey man, you got the torch now. Why stop doing a beautiful thing? Why?"
Well, I think there's a thing too when you see him in concert, he really brings that out. It's a whole different experience. This is a 38.
I will say
this is a 38. Oh, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I do not like the studio album John Mayer. This is not my perspective is not coming from the studio album version of him. My love for him comes from go ahead.
No, I do like the studio album, John Mayer. I like seeing him live. And I think what he's trying to do is, he's always trying to break a mold that people don't want to put him in, because he comes out with Continuum, which is definitely his best album. I don't think anyone's going to disagree. I argue it's the best album of from 2000 to 2010. I will, I'll say that every day of the week. And there's a lot of artists that I really like that came out with really good albums.
Wrong.
Whoa.
Well, I mean, on your end, Brenton, you and I probably listened to the same albums you're disagreeing with me about, but I don't know if you listen to Continuum. And this is, I'll say, when I listened to Continuum, I wasn't even like, John Mayer was not my favorite artist. I actually became a John Mayer fan later on, just when I more appreciated different things or whatever. I appreciated Continuum. He was in my top 5 or whatever, but I've later grew to appreciate those records and what that does, because that album stands the test of time. A lot of those albums that came out in that era don't stand the test of time as much, but we're not talking about that.
Here, can I say something really fast?
Yeah.
This is how I think about music, being like a musician who like tries to do music not for the sake of music, but to advance myself in music. You know, not a lot of people do that. Mm-hmm. And what I look at comparisons, like, and whenever you do things in music, you do it compared to a certain thing. So whether you're trying to beat yourself if you're that good. So if you look at like the Thriller album, has been in the what's the
Zeitgeist?
No. What is it? The starts with a B, the
Billboard?
The Billboard, yeah, the Billboard music, like top 100 for the last, since it's come out. Like since it's come out, it's still been in the top 100. That's for that many years. So that's the comparison to everything that you're trying to do. You're always trying to reach, that's the stratosphere in music, I feel. So anything you do less than that is less than your goal. And I feel like just how good John can be, he can make the Thriller album if he wanted to. I feel he could make the next one. He could be that great. But so I think he's like lowballing, trying to appease whatever he's trying to appease. I like the great John Mayer I used to see before. This album's fantastic, but I'm just like, why didn't you just break the stratosphere with this next one?
I mean, and that's something that only he really knows, because Continuum is a great album, and to go and think that he can do something better is tough. Like, there's also a thing like, you know, I don't have a Continuum. There's nothing for me that says this is the peak of my powers. This is what I've done. Yeah. Everybody loves me. And then he went through some stuff, like actual legit stuff that kind of dismantled his career for a little while. And he's always kind of fighting back against that. And then, you know, pop music has changed so much. Nobody cares now if you play guitar. I mean, it's just, isn't, right. And he still cares. He still brings that in there. And like I said, when you see him in concert, it's a completely different show. It really is. I mean, this is a 38-minute album that will be, if all he did was play this, he could easily make it an hour and a half
100%.
With guitar solos and whatever he's going to do. So I look at him as, you know, someone that's always changing. He's not, he has a song where he's talking about changing too, but he is always changing. And I didn't even mean that on purpose. So this is like, I guess my takeaway is I'm interested to see what his steps are going forward, because he is older. I mean, he's 43. And, you know, Bruce Springsteen had a thing where, you know, I'm saying like he's 43 in the sense of like in music years, you like are now at the Bruce Springsteen age where you're just putting like albums out that you just want to get reviewed 4.5 stars on Rolling Stone, but literally no one hears. And that's that weird thing. Like, I've listened to old Bruce Springsteen, which I love, and I listened to new Bruce Springsteen, which I also think is very good.
Yeah,
it's not radio plays. None of that gets there, but still, Bruce Springsteen sells out every single concert. So does John. And there has to be there's probably a point in your career where like I can't be, and I'm gonna sound insane, but like John Mayer's not going to be BTS. You know what I mean? He's not every single song he comes out with is going to be a #1 song. And like, I appreciate what, you know, the K-pop, the J-pop, I appreciate what it is. I understand why it's popular with younger people. I've listened to it and it's fun. I think he's kind of realized like what he has to do to make himself happy. He seems super stoked on this album. I mean, and the marketing for this was so much different than any other marketing he's had. So my thing is, if it makes him happy, then I'm okay with it. And I really like this album. I think maybe our final way to wrap this up is, you know, not to rank it based on anything or, you know, it just, when, you know, let's say 10 years down the road, you know, are you going to be upset that this album came out?
And no, I'm going to answer that question because I think it was a fantastic album as well. I see all the characteristics of the things that you see. I'm saying at the end of the day, it wasn't appealing to the population of people who made him popular again. He went out and he did the blues shit and he did the fucking Hendrix shit and he went out and played with the Grateful Dead. And those are the people who love that dude and really want to see him be great again. The Your Body is a Wonderland crowd, like we all go to the concerts, but he almost, died on that hill. If you know what I'm saying? So the blues, and here's the thing, Taylor Swift is the queen of pop, or pop, whatever that shit is. She thinks.
Yep.
But John Mayer was the king of blues, and he left it to go do some other shit. It's like when LeBron went to fucking Miami. That's how I feel about it. He left the thing that made him fucking great in my head. And it made a fantastic album. So I know he was there. Obviously, he was there in that place when he made it. All the things you're saying are 100% true. My thing was, why did you leave? Why couldn't we get Where the Light Is too? You know what I mean? There's something to be said, and I think that's a good comparison with LeBron. But I look at it as like, why leave Cleveland when you went back? Like you made people happy, and then you leave for LA. And it's like sometimes making everyone else happy is not the way that makes you happy. Like LeBron obviously had a different, mindset going to LA, and he won a championship in LA. But it's, to put his kids out there to just live in a better area. I mean, if you have your choice between Cleveland and LA, 100 people out of 100 are going to take, Cleveland, right?
Yes.
Yes.
You're going to take Cleveland. You're just going to take that terrible weather and, the terrible economy. No, you're going to go to LA.
Terrible fucking sports team. They're terrible. I hate them. I can't wait to play them. Go Steelers.
Sure. So, I think it's different. He also spent a lot of years working on this. It wouldn't shock me too. He has his concert next year. It also wouldn't shock me because a lot of people are bringing records out all the time. If this is just the beginning of him putting out, a record, every year for a couple years, because he's certainly worked on a lot of music. And this just might be, this is my 80s album. And then he has, this is my blues album. And then this is my pop album. We don't know.
Fantastic.
Right. So, that's a big thing. It makes me excited. He's back. We have him. We're going to have a concert with him. And, it's fun to have you on there because you and I are, semi disagreeing on this, even though we both love John Mayer a lot. Yeah. And I think that's important, is that we have two John Mayer fans that really appreciate what he's done. We have different views of it, which is good. That's why we want to have a podcast and why we talk about music. So what's your favorite song? I think that's a good way to end. What's your favorite song from the new album?
So my favorite song would be, I told you what my least favorite song was whenever I was. Yeah. It was Why You Know
Love Me.
And I just didn't understand the reason. I didn't understand the premise of why the song was. Going back and listening, I think that might be just the music and the construct of it now. Mm-hmm. I think it was the one that caught my attention. Sure. Now that's the one I'm obsessed with, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he always does that too, because John Mayer is the king of, I need to hear it again. Like, he's the king of that. I need to just hear it again. And then he's the king of also, whenever you're at the concert and the crowd singing it, you're like, oh, this shit's different.
Yeah.
This is like, Your Body is a Wonderland. In my head, it's like top 2 songs for me, because when you hear the crowd sing the shit, that changes everything.
It's why I like Why Georgia so much.
Yeah.
Because everybody gets into it. Every single person in that stand. Yeah.
And here's my thing. There's a song like this on the CD. I want to find that song, but you can never find it. That's the song I want to be my favorite. Yeah. Things will,
Wild Blue is my favorite song today. And that's okay. That can change. I love Wild Blue. It's an amalgamation of a lot of different people. I've compared this album in the grand scape of things is Steve Winwood if he was better at guitar. And Steve Winwood's a great guitar player, but he's also that epitome of 80s rock.
Yeah.
So, I think we leave this with, I think we both have positive reviews.
Well, what it reminded me of, I heard a lot of Fleetwood. I heard a lot of Fleetwood Mac.
You're the first person I've heard say Fleetwood Mac, which is fun.
Really?
Yeah, I like that.
Listen to it again. I think it's it's one of the top 2 songs. I forget, but yeah.
I'll listen to it for Fleetwood Mac. You know, you and I, we know we can go on and on about John Mayer, and we
Do
will
you,
again sometime soon. Brenton,
Do
I
you
was going
have
to say, Brenton.
anything? Do you have anything that you would like to promote?
Me? Oh yeah.
No, Greg.
Well, I would have something I'd like to promote, but
No,
I'll wait
we're
till
not
later on in
talking
the show.
about the fucking Royal Caribbean.
Not the
man.
fucking. Oh, we'll get to it.
No, I got a lot of stuff I want to promote, man. So Outrospect is going to be coming back in the fall. I do it in my attic, so it's kind of hot in the summer. So whenever shit cools down, my shit's going up. And then I DJ on August the 20th for Tone Loc. I'll be opening up for that. So
cool.
Thelma's Sports Nook in Sharpsville, PA. So
I know Thelma's. I've been there many times.
Yeah, right there. And then I DJ every weekend downtown Youngstown V2. Come see me, man. If anybody who I fucking know listens to this, which you're going
Thelma's
to.
is a cool spot. Please go and see him because you get Dallas, but that's also a fun spot. Yeah,
man. It's fantastic. Great food, great people.
Yeah.
There it is.
There it is. Well, Dallas,
it.
thanks for coming on, and I'm glad I could see you in a new light.
Yeah, man. I think we do some good stuff together. That was pretty good not to have been playing.